10, 5.
I feel very called to become a member of the Catholic Church.
Love the Catholic Church. It's just the best place to be.
From the studios of EWTN, this is Open Line. In North America, call toll-free 1-800-585-9396. That's 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985. You can also send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
Well, happy St. Patrick's Day to you all. It's March 17th, the Feast of St. Patrick, and a happy St. Patrick's Day to each and every one of you. Welcome to Open Line Thursday. Father Larry Richards is in the house. He will answer your questions on the new evangelization. The number's 1-800-585-9396. That's toll-free anywhere in North America. 1-800-585-9396. If you're outside the United States and Canada, we'd love to hear from you. Your number is 1-205-271-2985, and we will put you straight to the front of the line at 1-205-271-2985. Or you can send us an email, openline@ewtn.com. I'm Jack Williams. Kermit the Frog is producing the program. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Elena Rodriguez behind the glass. Keep Elena in your prayers. She is still recovering from her bronchitis, and her voice is not quite all the way back yet. So keep her in your prayers. And Matt Kabinski is your phone screener. Our host, as he is every Thursday, me favorite leprechaun, Father Larry Richards.
How are you? Happy St. Patty's Day. You're not drinking green beer yet, are you, down there?
No. Yeah, I'm coming to you live from Memphis. I neglected to mention that. We're beautiful event coming up Saturday, the Men's Morning of Spirituality. Have you ever been a guest at that event, Father Larry?
I have. Who's speaking this year?
It's the men of Crossing the Goal from EWTN. Daniel Bramlitz, Curtis Martin,
I know.
Brian Patrick, and
good job.
The fourth gentleman will come to Mr. Peter Herbeck. Peter Herbeck, yeah. So it'll be, they're expecting, they had 1,500 men last year. They're expecting upwards of 2,000 this year, so it's going to be a spectacular event.
Danny. There you go. Good job.
Outstanding. I'll give them your best for sure. 1-800-585-9396 is our toll-free number. We've got a couple emails. Hi, Father Larry. I'm so jealous that I couldn't be at your event in Baltimore this weekend for the men's conference. I did want to ask, why did you rename your retreat center the Hope House? And that's from Gene.
Because it used to be Avila House, and Avila House there's a church in here. There's a church in that city called Teresa Avila. So we wanted to make sure that it wasn't considered part of that anymore. And since it's run by the foundation of the Reason for Our Hope, we wanted it to be the place that people find hope. But we still have the chapel there, and the chapel is St. Teresa Avila Chapel. So, but we wanted to make sure that everybody knew that it wasn't connected to that parish anymore, and hadn't been connected to that parish in 20 years. But people always ask the same question: is it part of that parish? No. So now we know it's not part of the parish there.
Cynthia in Kansas writes, Father Larry, my husband is a convert, and his father died 2 years ago. He did not attend any church, and we do not know if he was baptized. Can we have masses said for the repose of his soul?
Absolutely. You can have masses said for anybody, and so that would be the greatest thing ever if I would have done that immediately. And any time I know someone who wasn't in the faith in that, and I'll never forget one of the first examples of that was Pope Paul VI when he prayed for the dead, and he was asking his assistant one of the things, you think it's proper for the Pope to sit there and say Mass for someone who wasn't Catholic? And yeah, it'd be, just of course it's proper. The whole point of everything is God wants all people to be saved, so we do everything in our power by the grace of God and the greatest sacrament in the Mass to give that grace to them.
And then we
never waste Mass.
There you go. That's exactly right. Next up is Charlotte, and she says, Father Larry, my aunt is a sponsor for a lady who wants to become Catholic. After going to classes, this lady was denied because her former husband was dead, but his first wife was still living. This person has never been baptized. Why are they not letting her become Catholic? She's ready to go back to an evangelical church.
I have no idea. That doesn't sound right at all. Because if her ex-husband's dead, there's no problem at all. Unless, not enough information on that question. But if you're no longer married, there's nothing and your ex-husband who knows? Doesn't sound right to me.
So if she married a gentleman who had been married previously, who had not been granted an annulment, and we'll just assume for the sake of argument that his first marriage was a valid sacramental marriage. He subsequently married this lady and then passed away. Really, a contrite visit to the sacrament of reconciliation should get her back on track, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I just don't. But see, sometimes there's things that they don't know about. That the writer wouldn't know that she might have been married before, or just don't know. Because usually it's. Nowadays, it's so complicated. I had one couple come in RCIA, and he had been married 5 times. And we had to go through all the various things to make sure none of them were valid. I mean, it's a very complicated thing sometimes, the way people are today. But on the face value, it doesn't seem like there'd be nothing holding her back. But there's probably something else there, I would imagine.
And Marv writes from New Orleans, "Hi, guys. I've heard so little about the Pope's meeting with the Russian Patriarch and the message of Fatima by our Blessed Mother. I would love to hear more. Great show. What's your Patriarch Kirill meeting knowledge like?"
Yeah, I don't know about that. I know a lot about Fatima, though, and she prayed. We all prayed for the conversion of Russia, and Russia, in some ways, is more Christian than America now. And more, unbelievably ways. So I think that. And I was there. Often people have the big argument that the world has not been consecrated to Our Lady. And I was there when John Paul did. I was in Rome at that thing. I had the whole thing on video. And then Lucia was still around. And when they asked her, "Is this fulfill what Our Lady asked for at Fatima?" And she says, "Yes." So there's still people going around saying we haven't done what we needed to do yet. The world has not been consecrated to Our Lady, but it has been. And that's about as clear as you can get, So now when it comes to the Patriarch, I think that, our Holy Father is trying so much to really open the doors to make us one the way Jesus intended. And that got to be our intention. Jesus prayed, "May they be one." That was his intention. That is his will. So we must do everything in our power to make that will real. Because if that's what Jesus, our founder, desires, that must be what we desire.
1-800-585-9396 is our toll-free number. Just getting started on an open line Thursday, talking the new evangelization with Father Larry Richards. 1-800-585-9396. Jump in line now. It'll be busy later. Open line Thursday with Father Larry.
Hi, I'm Doug Keck, the host of EWTN's Bookmark, and I wanted to tell you about a new book, Praying with Mother Angelica, Meditations on the Rosary, the Way of the Cross, and Other Prayers. It's a new book that's out from Mother Angelica, and with me is Father Joseph Mary Wolf, our chaplain here. And Father Joseph, you knew Mother for many, many years, worked very closely with her, and you could appreciate this book and recommend it. What are some of the highlights, maybe a prayer you'd like to read?
I like it that it has her meditations on the mysteries of the Rosary, including the luminous mysteries, which were taken from her programs later, but also her meditations on the Stations of the Cross. And one of my favorite parts is her conversation with God. So it's like entering into her prayer. Mm-hmm. So here's one where Mother speaks about time, and it's more like a prayer. "Life is so short, my Lord. I look at all my yesterdays and they seem so hazy, while all my tomorrows are uncertain. The only time I really possess is this tiny moment, and it passes so quickly. It is a most precious gift in your hands, and I should look at it as I would a treasure."
Exactly, and as Mother always said about living in the present moment, and now is the moment for you to check out Mother's new book, Praying with Mother Angelica, Meditations on the Rosary, the Way of the Cross, and Other Prayers. You won't be sorry. It's a wonderful new book available right now. Order it today.
To get your copy of Praying with Mother Angelica, log on to our web store, EWTNRC.com and type in item 80008 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
This is Janet Benkovic, host of Women of Grace.
Hello, this is Cardinal Donald Wuerl of the Archdiocese of Washington.
This is Gloria Purvis, co-host of Morning Glory. Have a blessed Lent from all of us at EWTN Radio.
This is Open Line on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. If you have a question or comment, call 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985 or send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
Be sure to give EWTN a like on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/EWTN Radio Network. That's facebook.com/EWTN Radio Network. To the phones we go. Our leadoff hitter is Karen in Lafayette, Louisiana, listening on Christ Our King Radio. Karen, you're on with Father Larry.
Thank you. Hello, Father Larry.
How are you?
I'm good, and I love you. I think you're awesome.
Well, thank you.
But I started out with Dr. David Andrews, and then I could hear you and the call
Well,
screener
and listen, and Karen,
everybody.
I told our call screener I thought you were done, and I think that's why she hung up on you, so that's my fault.
Can you imagine? It's all Jack's fault, Karen. I'm sorry.
Why should
He'll
today
go to
be any
confession
different than
later in
yesterday, right?
Memphis.
Because I could hear all kinds of people.
Oh, there you
Okay,
go.
first I have a comment, and then I have a question.
Sure.
One lady called when Dr. Anders was on, and she said her friend said she didn't get anything out of Mass. And I know my scriptures. I'm a convert, late in life, but I'm a convert. I was raised with no religious, there was Methodist, but it wasn't lived out at home at all. And so the priests and different people at the school I was teaching say, you don't have to do this. You don't have to join the church. And I said, God is telling me to join the church.
Mm-hmm.
And the comment for the lady that called and said her friend said she got nothing out of the Mass. Well, some people go to these other churches and have potluck suppers and cupcakes, and that's not what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
It's about worshiping God.
Exactly.
And everything in the scriptures, the whole thing, Old Testament and New, fulfills each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to make that comment. Maybe they're looking for fluff, where the Catholic Church is looking for worship. Now, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I was born premature,
mm-hmm.
and no one in my family that's still alive knows anything whether I was baptized or not.
Mm-hmm.
And several priests have said, well, you're confirmed and you're done. Should I be concerned about that?
No, when they brought you into the church, they should have really dealt with it then, because if they weren't, normally if you don't know if a person's baptized and there's no one to say the person was baptized, usually, like we used to call it a conditional baptism. If you were not baptized, and now I baptize you in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, amen. And that's the way we used to do it, and I still do it that way if we have no idea, so I don't know, but how long ago did you come into the church?
When? 92.
92.
And
yeah, they should have dealt with that
God
way back
every
then.
Every day.
Well, sure. But
and
again,
I've told
no matter...
other people, they have a cold French fry, and I have a hot stuffed baked potato.
There you
with no
go.
bottom.
And the reality, either way, that when they confirmed you, because there's always the baptism of intention. So, of course, when you were brought into the church, if you weren't baptized, your baptism of intention would take care of that. So, I would not rebaptize you if you weren't doing that. But again, I would just, I don't. They should have dealt with that in 92. But since it's already been done, what diocese are you in?
The Diocese of Lafayette, and I go to the cathedral of St. John Baptist.
Great. And again, sometimes to make yourself feel better, you might want to just talk to the bishop about that and see what he thinks.
I've talked to 3 or 4 priests, and they say, if you were confirmed as a Catholic, you are Catholic.
Oh, absolutely. But, it's the baptism thing that you brought up. I mean, that would always, God is bigger than all the things. But if they say that, then go by it. Absolutely. But thank you. God bless you for calling us, Karen.
I just want to say how much I love the faith.
Thank you, boy. God is so good.
Me
neither.
Getting anything out of it.
Me neither, especially with the Eucharist.
Her friend is to tell her friend to get the Bible and the Catechism.
There you go. God bless you. Thank you for calling, Karen.
Thanks, Karen. Appreciate the phone call. That opens up a line for you at 1-800-585-9396. That's toll-free anywhere in North America. 1-800-585-9396. If you're outside the United States and Canada, maybe somebody in Ireland on this St. Patrick's Day is listening.
Ireland.
Your number is 1-205-271-2985. That's 1-205-271-2985. 2985, and we'll put you straight to the front of the line. Matt Lawson in Cincinnati, Ohio. Probably shouldn't have given Matt's last name now that I think about it. Everybody's going to be crashing his door because he talked to Father Larry. Why does Jesus use the word trespasses in the Our Father instead of sin or transgression?
And it isn't Jesus that uses that word. It's a course of translation. Jesus spoke. I'm not a Greek scholar or Aramaic, but he spoke it first. Of course, he preached it in Aramaic, and then it was written in Greek. And so that is the word that the Catholic Church, the Catholic scholars translated it. You got other ones that'll talk about debts. The other one will be sin. So for whatever reason, and again, my thing isn't Scripture scholar. I'm not a Scripture scholar, but I do know enough that it's just a translation that we used. But there's other translations, and they all mean pretty much the same thing. But what exact word he used, I do not know. It would have been in Aramaic.
That would be a great question if you could call in sometime on a Wednesday, Father Mitch, with all of his language knowledge.
He'd go through the whole history of it, and then it was said this, and then this, and the word trespass means this, and it'd be a great talk.
Be a whole program.
Exactly.
1-800-585-9396. 1-800-585-9396 is our toll-free number. Anonymous writes in, "Please, dear Christian family, I'm not sure if I can ask any question, but I wonder, is it wrong for a religious to feel connected in soul with another?"
I don't think. I think we're all connected or called to have, remember one of the saints sat there and says, it's like we were 2 souls in one body, meaning that him and this other saint, they were so united in their love of God and their zeal for God that they were like one soul and like burning for God. And when you think about the reality that the Holy Spirit lives in all of us, and so it's the same Spirit that brings us all together. So as long as it's a holy union in the Holy Spirit, a holy union in Jesus, and not a union beyond that ends in itself. Because anything that ends in itself or just with 2 people would be not of God. Even in marriage, a marriage cannot just be 2 people together. It's really 3, God and that couple. And that's how they get part of the Trinity, if you will, not a big, they don't become the Trinity, but they become united with the Trinity, with the Spirit living inside of them and Jesus inside. So I think that it's exactly what we're all called to do, but in a holy way, not in a selfish way.
Back to the phones we go. Kevin is up north in Canada. He's listening to EWTN online. Kevin, thanks for holding. You're on with Father Larry.
Hello,
Thanks
Kevin.
so much.
What's up?
I'm just calling about something I saw on social media, and I as a caveat, I don't normally put much stock into it, but it's about sort of Vatican II haters, I guess. And someone quoted Pope Benedict recently giving an address in Germany, talking about salvation and how. With regard, you mentioned just in the last call that I heard about baptism with intention, and how that Vatican II kind of became too vague with regards to salvation and baptism.
I read the same thing. I know exactly what you're talking about. I just read it today. And he says, "And what do we have if people are afraid of hell? Why should they become Christian if all religions are the same?" And It's been debated throughout the years, but the main thing that we got to focus on is that, there is no salvation outside of Jesus Christ. It can happen, no matter what. If anyone was to say that you could be saved apart from Jesus, that would be heresy. Nobody could say that. So the question comes, well, then how are people saved? Again, like Vatican II did say in Lumen Gentium, that we've talked about before, but it did say clearly that people that are not Catholic could be saved. But the key there is the word could. And if they were to be saved, it would be done in Jesus. St. Bonaventure, the way he talked about it is St. Bonaventure says the whole point of evangelization is to tell people who think they are blind, who think that they are blind, that they can see. That there's somewhere in every person, by definition, being created, there is a spark of God inside of them. Not the full salvific will of Jesus when a person is baptized and they get transformed by the blood of the Lamb, but there's something in them that even can open them to grace, that come to Christ one day. And so, again, we're taking... it was LifeSite that sat there and brought that interview out, and they sat there and they says, but they're still only picking pieces out. So I'd love to read the whole thing about what he said. But if I agree with him, the concerns are, what's the point of bringing anybody Christian if it doesn't matter what you are? It does matter what you are. Completely matters what you are. But that doesn't mean God's grace can't reach people who aren't in the church. Somehow his grace reaches them. But we can't just sit back and say, well, then what's the point of bringing others to Christ? We have to do everything in our power to help them to know the fullness of faith. But yeah, I read the same thing and I had the same thoughts there. Kevin, thanks for calling about that, though. I agree.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate the phone call. Oh, go ahead. Do you have another question?
Go ahead.
No, I just said thanks, that's all. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. Thanks for calling very much.
1-800-585-9396 is our toll-free number. Next up is Rosalind in Long Island, New York. She's listening to EWTN on our app. And Rosalind, you have a phenomenal question, and you're on with Father Larry.
Hello, Rosalind.
Hello. I was just wondering, whether or not I should evangelize my family or just pray to let someone else help me in that. I'll hang up and listen if you don't mind.
Okay, Rosalind. I think you should do both, huh? Sometimes we can't do anything for our family. I know I can't as much as I try, They don't want to listen to me because, they've known me all the days of my life, So, and they sit there. Once my brother got in some trouble, not much, but he sat there and my sister says, why don't you go talk to Larry? And he says, nobody can talk to Larry. So it's like, there you go. So, but then I find out that other people have come and talked to my brother about salvation and different things. So that's a great thing. But our job, though, is to pray for them, so like every day you can put your family's names down and pray for them. You can do a Divine Mercy Chaplet. I love to do when I do the Divine Mercy Chaplet is I like to use a different person's name for each of the prayers. So because of his sorrowful passion, have mercy on Michael and on the whole world. Because of his sorrowful passion, have mercy on Kenny and on the whole world. Because of his sorrowful passion, have mercy on Sandy and on the whole world. And so that way, every time you say the Divine Mercy Chaplet, you're doing it as an evangelical tool to evangelize, to bring people to the heart of mercy of Jesus Christ. And so that's something you could do and should do, and then at the same time pray for someone to bring them into the church. That if you can't do it. But sometimes you'd be surprised that they might listen to you. If you pray for them, you love them, and then you witness to them. Great things can happen with that, too.
So the fact that they're a family member shouldn't absolve you completely from your responsibility to share the truth with them.
Absolutely, absolutely. But sometimes people don't want to listen to us. But we still do it. That's the point, So I just think often I've heard people when they get in arguments over Thanksgiving over the faith, and it's like, oh dear, I don't know if that's the best way. And again, only because I have done that, So when everybody's mad and yelling at everybody, and then my mom will sit there and say, you're not supposed to talk about politics and religion. Well, I'm a priest. What do you want from me? So.
1-800-585-9396 is our toll-free number. It's toll-free anywhere in North America. 1-800-585 1-800-585-9396. If you're outside the United States and Canada, 1-205-271-2985. Talking the new evangelization with Father Larry Richards on Open Line Thursday.
Hey, Catholic high school and college filmmakers. Want to get your work seen in over 250 million homes around the world? Then enter the Cool to be Catholic commercial contest. We're looking for original 30 and 60-second spots that focus on Catholic themes. 3 grand prize winners will get an all-expense-paid trip to the EWTN studios in Birmingham, Alabama, and a guest appearance on Life on the Rock. To find out more and to enter, go to EWTN.com/cool2becatholic.
60 Seconds with Father Mitch Pacwa.
This communion with Jesus and with one another, that being united to Him and abiding in Him, that is the indispensable condition for bearing fruit. That's why our Lord says, back in John 15, verse 5, apart from me, you can do nothing. If you're not united to Christ, you're not going to do anything for Him. So communion with Jesus, our Savior, focusing on Him and getting to know Him and be known by Him, that is what makes it possible for us to bear fruit as Christians. And communion with others is the most magnificent fruit that the branches can give. That's one of the things that He's looking for from us, that we have a communion with one another, that we have a love and a concern. Does it mean we agree with one another? Not necessarily.
The people you know and trust are on EWTN.
It's the start of a new day for Morning Catholic Radio.
There's an old song by Mahalia Jackson. It says, oh, the way may not be easy, but you never said it would be. But when my way gets a little too easy, Lord, I tend to stray from thee.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Wow. And she has such a beautiful voice, too. Yeah, to hear her sing it, you just want to lay out on the floor and say, hallelujah.
Morning Glory, Catholic from the start. Weekday mornings, 7 Eastern on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Making a difference. EWTN Radio.
This is Open Line on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. If you have a question or comment, call 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985 or send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
Tonight, you need to make sure you check out The World Over with Raymond Arroyo. If you absolutely cannot watch it, you need to record it because we're re-airing his interview with comedy icon Jerry Lewis, and it was one of the most captivating things I've seen on television in a long time. Raymond did just a marvelous job. Jerry Lewis even commented at the end of the interview on what a marvelous job that Raymond did with this interview. It is insightful and just a great look into the life of a legendary American, Mr. Jerry Lewis. That's tonight at 8 Eastern on EWTN television. Back to the phones we go. Cindy is in Fort Wayne, Indiana, listening to EWTN on Redeemer Radio. Cindy, what's your question today for Father Larry?
Hello, hi, Father Cindy. Larry. Hi.
What's up?
I'm a recent convert to Catholicism. I grew up in the Lutheran Church. And as I'm sharing my faith, one of the things that sometimes I have a little difficulty understanding is the concept of penance as I go to reconciliation, I guess in particular. Sometimes my penance doesn't seem like it's tough enough. And I don't know if other people have experienced that, but I guess my question is to you as a priest, how you determine what a penance might be, and if it's spiritually haughty of me to consider doing something extra that I haven't been asked to do to make myself feel better about clearing that remnant of sin.
Sure. The only penance I have given in 27 years is one Our Father. And people come to me after 57 years and say, Father, that's not enough. And I always say, nobody asked you. You shut up and do as I tell you. Why? Because, first of all, it isn't to keep you focused on self, but I need to fill this. 90% of Catholics, I think, and this is a judgment, of course, but most Catholics, I think, are Pelagianists. And a Pelagianist is a heresy that says I have to earn my salvation. You cannot earn your salvation. Jesus paid the penalty for your sins. Now, when we do a penance, we're bringing back in some type of justice that whole thing, to bring justice back. But we're paid for, so we're cooperating. But we're putting like a drop, because one drop of the blood of Jesus is enough to forgive you. And so if I was to give you 10 Our Fathers and 10 Hail Marys, like most people do, then what do? Most Catholics go back and go, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth. Our Father who art in heaven. If I do 10, I better do another one just in case. Our Father who art in heaven. And it becomes just this ritual instead of a relationship. And I think, when I tell people, if you don't think one Father's enough, you go one Our Father. You go talk to Jesus, who said this is the perfect prayer. And right before he taught us the perfect prayer, he says, when you pray, do not rattle on like the pagans do. So I say it's the perfect prayer. I just wrote a whole book on the Lord's Prayer. This is it. So, but sometimes people say, Father, I don't feel. And then I always say, I could care less about how you feel, because Jesus covers you no matter what. So this isn't about you feeling. It's about Jesus forgiving you. So the focus should always be before, during, and after your confession on Jesus, not on you. And then what will that do is it'll make you grateful, because you might want to do more, and Jesus says, that's enough. I paid the price for your sin. And you say, well, let me do more. That's enough. I paid the price for your sin. And so what that does then is gives you a grateful heart. Now, other priests might give you a lot more. I went to confession in Rome once, and the priest gave me a rosary, and I say a rosary every day, okay. But the reality is, it's the focus on, is it on Jesus or is it on the person? So I would, in humility, always accept what the priest gives you and say, thank you, Father, and then do that. And that would even be a greater penance for you, because you think you should get more. So accept that in humility, and that'll do great in your spiritual life.
Thank you. That's a perfect answer. That gave me the clarity that I needed. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you.
1-800-585-9396 is our toll-free number. Couple lines open. 1-800-585-9396. Next stop, the great state of California. Stephanie is listening to EWTN on iHeartRadio. Stephanie, what's your question for Father Larry?
Yes, hi, Father Larry.
Hello, Stephanie. What's
I'm
up?
a new convert to the Catholic faith. June of last year, it was me and my son who were baptized, and recently my son is went to see a priest. He confessed, and the priest told him that pornography is a venial sin. And so I feel like my son is not understanding that it's a mortal. I feel like it's a mortal sin within itself. So he says it's venial, and so it's not a big deal. And so I felt like, is it a mortal or a venial sin?
Well, yeah, first of all, it doesn't matter how you feel. It matters what the church teaches. The bishops just put out a thing on, and the bishops put out a thing saying it is mortal sin. Now, that being said, it's and mortal sin. I can't sit there and say it's even mortal sin. It's objectively evil. It's objectively grave matter. Now, to commit a mortal sin, though, so to look at pornography objectively is grave matter, which means that there's three things necessary to commit a mortal sin, right? Because you could be doing something grave, but it wouldn't be mortally sinful for you, like missing Mass on Sundays, objectively grave matter. But if you're traveling, if you're sick, then you don't have full knowledge, so it's not a mortal sin. Do you understand the difference between grave matter and mortal sinfulness? So for him or to anybody to look at pornography, it's objectively grave matter. Now, to commit a mortal sin, though, you not only have to do the objective grave matter, but you have to know it's mortal, and you have to do it with the full consent of the will. Meaning that it's wrong, very wrong, you know it's wrong, and you decide to do it anyway. Now you've committed mortal sin. So just because something is grave matter doesn't mean it's a mortal sin for the person that did it. The church has always taught that. You need three things to commit a mortal sin. But the element of grave matter is always evident there. So always objectively would be grave matter to look at pornography. Now, if your son, again, I don't know. I'm not his confessor whether he's in mortal sin if he has looked at it, browsing at it, different things. But objectively, it's always mortal. It's always a grave matter. So I'm trying to make the difference between objective grave matter and whether it's mortal sin for the person, because I don't know the person's soul. So I don't know if all three of those things are evident in your son. But if they were to ask me, is it a mortal sin to look at pornography? I'd say yes. It's objectively grave, and that's the best way to do it. But you have to go. Am I making sense to you? I'm trying to explain it as best I can.
Right, and you are. I thank you. I appreciate Father. This other priest told him, "Oh, it's a venial," and so he's taking it like, "Oh, it's not a big deal."
No.
And I want to hear from somebody as a perspective that it's a grave matter.
I would encourage you to put in the bishop's and just put in Google the bishop's statement on pornography, and that way you can have him read it, and it says it's objectively a grave matter. So that way, because if not, you're gonna you'll find one priest will say one thing, another priest will say another. But look it up. It only came out in the last 6 months, and the bishop said explicitly it's mortally sinful or a grave matter. Okay?
All right. Thank you, Father. I appreciate it.
Thank you for calling.
Now, even if it is a venial sin, that doesn't mean you should run out. Well,
sure.
Doesn't give you license to commit it, correct?
But absolutely. But there's it's like a difference between a white lie and a lie that costs someone their life. They're both wrong, but they're you don't want to be doing either of them. But you never want to tell someone that something that's objectively grave isn't objectively grave, and it would be objectively grave.
That's right. 1-800-585-9396 is our toll-free phone number. That's the number Judy used in the great state of Oregon. She's listening to EWTN on Sacred Heart Radio. Judy, you're on with Father Larry.
Hello, Judy.
Hey,
what's up?
Sorry to interrupt, but I really love your I love your open line, and I love you when you come on every Thursday. I listen to you mostly. I listen to Open Line every day, but I especially record. I have an iPad, so I can record the show just in case I miss it, and I really record you on Thursdays because I don't want to miss it.
Well, I'm glad. You can always go online, though, and EWN records all of them, so you can get them at any time online and just look up after 24 hours, they put it online. And again, we replay this tonight, too, so at different times. But I'm so glad that you like it. That's the whole point, is hopefully it inspires you to bring others to Jesus. That's the biggest point of it.
Thanks, Judy. Appreciate that phone call. 1-800-585-9396. Next up is Michael. He's listening in Spokane, Washington. He's also listening on Sacred Heart. Michael, you're on with Father Larry.
Hello, Michael. And thank you, Father Larry, and happy St. Patrick's Day. Wear another green.
To you, too. I'm wearing green, too. Absolutely.
All right, I got
Not drinking green, but eating. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Father. What groups, I know some Catholic groups or organizations go door to door and on streets in a very positive, peaceful manner, handing out Christian cards and religious cards. Could you name some of these groups that might be helpful?
St. Paul, the Street Evangelization, they're the biggest ones that I know that do that. It's all over the United States now, and they're mostly young people on fire for God. I mean, this is what we all should be doing. If we could just get our lay people to be, and most everybody in St. Paul Evangelization, most of them are lay people. But if only, I always say, if only I had 20 people in my parish, 10 people that were on fire for Jesus Christ, that were on fire to want to bring people to Jesus, we could change the world. But most Catholics just, they're come follow me. They're not go make disciple type people. So that's the problem. We all got to be making disciples. That's the call for Jesus to everyone who's listening at this show at this very moment. God wants you to make disciples of others. It isn't my job only. It's all of our jobs.
Our job. That's right.
Absolutely. God calls us all. It's his command. It's not an option. It's not like, well, you can do that, not me. No. You must. And you have to ask the Holy Spirit to set you on fire to really start desiring to bring others to Jesus. That's got to be part of what we are. When we stand before God in judgment, one of the questions he's going to ask us, I believe, is where are your brothers and sisters? Did you bring anybody with you? And you can't just sit there and say, well, it's hard enough for me to get here. That's the problem. Be desirous to bring others to salvation, and you'll come in with it. Great question, Michael.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, happy St. Patrick's.
Absolutely. Happy St. Patrick's to you. God bless you.
1-800-585-9396 is our toll-free number. Straight ahead, we'll talk to Amara in Ohio, Janet in Denver, Colorado, and we've got plenty of time for your phone calls at 1-800-585-9396. Talking the new evangelization on Open Line Thursday with Father Larry Richards.
I see God as a trusting father, a father who really cares for me, is guiding me in his providence, one who really has me wrapped in his love so that I don't need to worry about anything as I go through my day-to-day life.
Without God, I'm nothing. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie is a fresh look on life through the eyes of faith, love, and mercy.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Weekdays, noon and midnight Eastern on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
If you're currently an EWTN media missionary or just interested in becoming one, we've got some great news. EWTN Media Missionaries has a new and improved website. EWTNmissionaries.com, designed with you in mind. Our new site is loaded with great features and it's easy to navigate. There are so many different ways that you can help EWTN. Join us in sharing the eternal word with the world. Visit EWTNmissionaries.com today.
Thank you for listening to EWTN Radio.
This is Open Line on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. If you have a question or comment, call 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985 or send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
Into the home stretch on an Open Line Thursday with Father Larry Richards. Next up is Amara in the great state of Ohio. Amara, what's your question today for Father Larry?
Mom, don't talk. Okay.
Mom, don't talk. Oh, that's a nice way to talk to your mom. Now you really have something to go to confession for.
Yes. Father Larry, I've been hearing you on the radio a lot.
Well, good. What's up? What can we help you with, Amara?
That I'm going to receive my first confession, and I'm wondering if I have to remember all of my sins because I've lied quite a lot, and I don't remember how many times I really did it. Do you have to really tell him? And I don't remember the time that was my last confession.
Yes. All you have to do is give the priest about, how, if you, like, you could sit, like when people come and they say, I lied 127 times. And I always say, well, you probably just lied again because how do you know it was 127 times? You could sit there and say, I've lied a lot. I've lied every day or twice a day. To give the priest some. Day. Well, good. Well, you could say then I lie maybe once a week or maybe once a month. So you give him some idea.
Every time I eat my dinner.
No, every time. Well, if you eat your dinner, and every day you eat your dinner, huh? So you never know. So, but again, all you have to do is give him an about, so he knows, like, if this is a big issue with you, or if it's a little issue. That's so he can give you some guidance about how to stop lying. Because that's the whole point when you go to confession. You're not just confessing that I did these things, but you're really asking for the grace to stop doing those things, right?
Yes.
So when you go to confession and say, I lied, you're really saying, but by God's grace, I'm not going to lie anymore. So you might fall, but you have to always have the intention of repentance for forgiveness. So it always has to be the intention, because when you say the act of contrition, you say, I firmly resolve with the help of thy grace to sin no more. and to avoid the narrow occasion of sin. Amen. So we're all human beings, and so we always fall, but we have to have the intention, I'm going to get this out of my life. That's necessary for forgiveness. Okay?
Do I have to remember the last time I had a confession? Because it was last year, and I don't remember what time last year.
And all you have to do is say it was last year, but I don't remember exactly, Father, and Father will understand. Okay?
Yes?
Yes. Well, thank you for calling us.
Thanks, Amar. Appreciate the phone call. 1-800-585-9396 is our toll-free number. Next up is Janet in Denver, Colorado, listening to EWTN on iHeartRadio. Janet, you're on with Father Larry.
Hi,
Hello,
Father Larry.
Janet. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. First, I just want to say happy early birthday. You and I share the exact same birthday.
Well, there you go. I'm sure you're much younger than I am.
No, 1960.
Anyway. Oh, 1960. Holy cow, we're ancient, aren't we?
We're the exact same birthday. So happy
Good
birthday.
job.
My
Thank you,
question
too.
is, my son is 18 and depressed and doesn't want to get therapy anymore and not get treatment, and my husband is not Catholic. Neither will go to church with me. And I was wondering if this would be better or worse for my evangelizing of them, which all I do now is just pray. If I put my foot down and said, you guys have to go to church with me, would it help if they just sat there? Would it help at all? I kind of feel like my son, it would help if he had something.
Well, he's 18, so I don't,
Living in
when
the
you
house.
tell it. Yeah. Now again, if you made that rule for everyone that lives in your house, everybody that lives here, but your husband has to agree with that, and if he's not Catholic, that might be a little bit harder.
Yeah,
you know.
I know.
And so the biggest thing is, like with someone like that, is to have things for your son to read around the house or listen to. Lighthouse Media has a lot of stuff out, and if he has depression things and that, there's some stuff on there in depression, and you could just buy, if you see it, or go to Lighthouse Media and you find one of those DVDs or CDs, and you say, hey, why don't you listen to it? Or just let it around in his room or let it on the kitchen table, not even say a word, because sometimes just because you say something, you don't want to do it all the more. So,
Well,
but just
yeah.
just by finding one and putting it there might be good, just to put it out there. And that helps. Or, like I have that CD on, the Mass Explained. And you just get it and put it out there. And, they might listen to it. They might go, oh, I didn't even know what the Mass was about. Because a lot of people that go to Catholic Church every week haven't a clue what's going on. About this is really God. If every Catholic knew what was going on, they would crawl to Mass on their knees to get the Eucharist. But again, if I go, they're even they did a big study about what it is to be a Catholic, and they were saying what shows if someone's a practicing Catholic or not is they go to Mass once a month, and I'm going, oh, please, really? We've got that bad? That's what they're saying? The Catholic Church wasn't saying that, but people that were polling us, that's what they were saying. So, but just by putting things out like that and praying for him or praying for someone his age who knows the Lord to bring him to the Lord would be a great thing.
I even put a crucifix in his room, and he kept turning it over. So
wow, because it might feel guilty. That might be
Yeah.
the whole thing. He feels guilty. So again, he needs to experience the freedom and from his slavery before we start
Right.
hitting him with rules. So he needs to know the love of Jesus.
Put
more
down
than
and say,
anything.
I need you guys to go to church with me.
Sure. Well, but I wouldn't make him, because that could make him turn him off forever.
Okay.
Okay. But keep praying for him. Keep praying
I know.
and keep
I do.
and put things around for him. He needs to know the love of Jesus. So,
I know.
but that can come lots of ways. So,
Okay.
okie dokie.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Next up is Pat in San Diego, California. She's listening to EWTN online. Pat, you're on with Father Larry.
Oh,
Hello,
hi, Father
Pat.
Larry. Thank you for taking
My
my
favorite
call.
place, San Diego. I'm retiring there. I was
beautiful.
just there a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, were you really? Oh,
I
sorry,
was.
we
I
missed
spoke
you.
at the marriage
It's
conference.
beautiful.
We had a fine time. It is. It is.
That's
So
wonderful.
what's up?
Well, my question is really on Catholic radio in the last couple of weeks now, at least twice, maybe the third time, I have heard the person say that if you go to a non-Catholic or to a wedding of a Catholic who's being married outside the church, if that Catholic tells you they never really accepted the faith, even though they were raised in it, it's okay to go. And I've never heard that, ever. And I wondered what you think about that.
Well, my thing is, how do we bring people to Jesus? That's what I think about that, So, again, let's say that they were baptized, but they were never raised in the faith. Well, they'd even have to most likely go through RCIA if they wanted to get confirmed in that, But still, if a Catholic must, by definition, be married in the church for it to be a valid marriage. So, if a person was baptized just by baptism to have a valid marriage, unless they've sworn off the church and they became Episcopalian or something else, then they'll be judged by a different thing because they're no longer Catholic. But Catholics are bound by our rules. So if they actually swore off the church and don't consider themselves Catholic, that'd be another set of rules for them because it's a different reality. But a Catholic needs to be married in the Catholic Church or they're entering into adultery. It's about as simple as it can be. So to go to that, I would never go to that unless, again, I've said you have to pray about if it's your son or daughter. Is that going to keep him farther away from the church? You're going to draw him closer to God? I can't tell people, and again, people want me to say, go ahead and do this. Don't you dare do that. Okay. Well, for people want me to say that, okay, that's what, do it. But I'm saying you have to ask the Lord. But if it's someone you don't know, I wouldn't go to the wedding if they were Catholic and are getting married outside the church.
But
does that help?
Is there a church law? Well, a little bit, because I've always thought that it was.
Is there a church law? I don't know if any. I don't know. Again, I'm not the moral theologian. I'm not.
Yeah.
People often call me and ask me moral theologian questions, but I am not the moral theologian. Every time I open my mouth in this regard, I get in trouble. So
well, the one incident was that it was a person who would have been, now if I'm remembering it right, it would have been a person who was raised in the Catholic Church, confirmed in the whole bit, but they're marrying outside of the church now, and
you shouldn't go.
That's what I thought. Okay, that was answering my question. But if they sworn off the church, then you could go?
Because then they're going to be married, like, for instance, then if they became a First Assembly of God person, then we consider that a valid marriage because they're marrying another First Assembly of God. They're no longer bound by our law if they swear off our church, correct?
Wow. Okay.
Because you can go to hell that way too when you swear off the church.
Right,
so again, the church always sits there and says, "Okay, this is what you say. We're gonna." Like it used to be, the church taught if two Protestants got married, that wasn't a valid marriage. After Vatican II, we consider that a valid marriage because they're doing what they're considered right by their conscience. Correct?
Yeah.
So it works the other way around too, as far as I know. And again, my thing is, how do we bring people to Christ? So in all these questions, it's how am I going to bring this person to Jesus? Not how am I going to judge them whether they're doing right or wrong. That's not my call. My call is how do we bring people to Jesus Christ? That's always the call. And if you listen to the gospel on Sunday, sometimes things seem very black and white. A woman was caught in adultery. The law said she should be stoned. That's what the law said. It was explicit. And yet Jesus says, I don't condemn you. Okay, so you talk about making people mad. He made people so mad at that moment. But then he says, go and sin no more. But the reality is, but first he said, I don't condemn you, but he's the one who wrote the law. So you can see that Jesus caused confusion. And so today when people say, Father, you caused confusion. Well, Jesus caused confusion too. It's very clear, very explicit. But we still have the teaching. How do we bring people to Christ is the best thing.
Thanks so much, Pat. Appreciate the phone call. Father, would you leave us with a blessing?
Holy Father, great God of love, we ask your blessing upon everyone who listens to us now. Give them peace and help them to know your Son, Jesus, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
On behalf of our host, Father Larry Richards, producer Elena Rodriguez, our call screener, Matt Guben,